Yeah, I find that with EthStaker being the welcoming first, knowledgeable second, the educator part is really important. It's a critical piece of it because most people are coming to EthStaker to ask questions when something either goes wrong or they want to understand before they get started. And those are the two broad categories. And the educator role just provides like a bit of guidance, particularly in communities that can get quite noisy with people saying things that may not always be super helpful. Having the educator role just gives just a little bit of weight to some of the opinions and content, and the fact that it's all pretty agnostic and not like you only use this, it's the best for this like shilling some coin reason. It's just like, here are the facts and here are the links and here's how we can support you. And just having that consistent tone across the educators, I think is key.
Cool. So I guess there's a degree of a variety of opinions, and it tries to maintain a degree of objectivity, I guess is what you mean by in terms of agnostic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the objectivity. The educators, they come from different teams. There's a chat that we have where it's different client teams, individuals. So if we have very specific technical questions, we can work out the answers between us. Particularly when I was doing the EthStaker Knowledge base, I would come across lots of conflicting information when I was building up the FAQ and the glossary. And it was great to just have a group of people that were really, really deep in the knowledge to be able to discuss these questions and then get the most objective answers out there.
Would you have a rough approximation? I'm straying from my scripted questions in terms of how many bear the title of Ethereum educator? Any idea?
Well, these data educators, I think it's in the tens. It's 10
Okay,
to like 10 to 30 range, I think, is my understanding. But that's just from the small like Discord chat that I have with the other educators.
gotcha.
It could be more, but that's my understanding.
Understood. Sure. Okay, moving on to question number two. If someone had an interest in getting involved in the capacity of EthStaker educator, what would be their course of action?
Yeah, well, I mean, my route was just to get involved. So I'm more heavily involved with the Discord side of things, but there's also the Reddit route as well. And it's just wherever people are asking questions and providing support to the community. It can be difficult sometimes because you've got people like Yorick who answers questions incredibly fast, so it's hard to always get in there. But it's providing some like consistent feedback or even just chiming in when people are asking questions just to provide support to some of the answers is helpful. And then showing a particular interest maybe in a certain subject matter. I was focused on the actual like tutorial side of the educators, like getting things set up and writing technical documentation. Whereas there are other educators who are more focused on the actual technical implementation sides, like I said, the client teams. So if you have a specific niche or knowledge that you'd like to be able to share, I think that would be a great place to start. And then just getting involved and starting to share that. So it's an open community, so there's nothing stopping you.
So there's no specific contact person that they would want to reach out to in terms of getting on board.
Yeah, I mean, there are the general other educators in the space. There's key people, obviously like Superfizz and Nix, who are leaders in the EthStaker community, who would be good to reach out to.
Gotcha.
But just showing your enthusiasm and support, and even asking in some of the different channels like who would be best to reach out to, as it's a very open community. That also helps to keep it nice and decentralized rather than saying everyone go DM this one person, which isn't always the most helpful. So
that's definitely a reoccurring theme. I see how that would be a tenet of one's involvement. Okay, last week we did a clip on the EthStaker knowledge base, EthStaker.cc. Wondering if could get a couple of just sound clips, just talking about it, the content that it entails, maybe how it came about, just the idea behind it.
yeah, so the idea with the knowledge base is to be a support portal. So the idea was it's 2 a.m. and your validator goes down or something goes wrong, and you go onto the Discord and no one replies straight away. And where do you go from there? And I wanted somewhere where all the information was readily available, it was accessible, it was clearly presented, and had key sections that said like help. My validator's offline. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about slashing. And really not just writing the technical documentation, but actually how someone would feel, what the questions people actually have, and how to answer them in a friendly and supportive way. So that was why the EthStaker knowledge base is written like it is, and that's how the content is structured.
Yeah, and just in my own opinion, it was friendly, it was super practical, and very straight ahead. That was a great answer, and it's a tremendous resource that I'm sure has assisted a lot of people and will continue to. I couldn't help but notice there's a section inviting people to contribute to it. What course of action, how can one contribute to the EthStaker knowledge base?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have a Gitbook community license, which means that rather than saying go to GitHub and create pull requests, we actually have this free license, which means that anybody can sign up just with their email and become a contributor. And then you can, within Gitbook, create contributions within the UI. And I've created a video on that how do I contribute page. It's just a Twitter video where you can actually go on, and it's just a 2-minute video where I show exactly what to do, how to sign up, how to make a change, how to submit it, what the review process looks like. And that's all contained in this short 2-minute video.
Perfect. Is that video embedded on the site?
It is, yes. So it's on the main page, if you just scroll to the bottom of the main page, and it's also on the How Do I Contribute page, and it's embedded as just a Twitter link to that video so that people can also share that as well. It just tried to make it as shareable as possible.
Great. I'll try to include a link to it in that clip. Let's see. 2 more questions. And they both seem to concern DVT. The first one, can you talk about what DVStaker means?
Yeah. So DVStakers, so the EthStaker knowledge base was mostly written by myself and a guy called Spacesider, who's from Australia, and I'm from the UK. And we talk a lot about our setups, and we got quite interested in DVT, the idea of distributed validators and how we could actually work together to have really good geographic resilience, because we're already so spread out. From that, we started doing more and more research. And when we were in Denver together this year, we started this DVStakers initiative, which is similar to the EthStaker knowledge base. It's an educational resource specifically aimed at all the DVT solutions. It's just a lot more focused. It'd be quite overwhelming for people to come in and land straight on that because it goes into quite technical details. But for people that are interested in the upcoming technology that is DVT and how that's started to work, and just to understand the scope of the landscape, because there are so many different permutations of it right now. So we are a small community that is growing. We have a little Discord where people that are really interested can join and ask questions, and also get involved in running DVT validators with OBOL, SSV, data, anything.
Great. I would love the link to that Discord to be able to help route people in that direction. Final question. Let's see. And related to DVT, as I mentioned, just if you could explain, possibly in layman's terms, just what is DVT? Just telling us a little bit about it and its application.
Yeah, I wrote a great little tweet thread on this from DVStakers. It's what is DVT? And the idea is that with a single validator, when it goes offline, when it goes down, you stop performing your duties. But with DVT, it's like having 4 people, for example, 4 people in a group together. And if one of them goes offline, as long as 3 others are online, they can still put their hand up and say, yep, we're still here, we're still attesting, this is the block you need. And it only takes 3 people to do that presentation, that proposal, or the attestation for the Ethereum network to say, yep, that's good, that's what we accept. So it's resilience, it's fault tolerance. It also improves things like slashing resistance. So it's this idea of the idea is operator in a trench coat is what I've heard it called. It's like pretending to be a single validator, but really you're 4 people in a trench coat.
Is there permanence to that block of 4, or is there a bit of a rotation where you may be sharing the responsibility with 3 different validators on another, or 3 different nodes at another day, or?
Yeah, so it's completely dependent on the protocol and how it's set up and who you work with. There are lots of different variations of it. 4 is just the simple analogy, but you can get 7 out of 10 thresholds. So you say there's 10 people in the whole group and you only need 7 of them to be online or to be part of the group. And then to do with rotation, yes, there are ways where you can say, and this is a really nice thing about it, is you don't even need somebody to have the whole key. If somebody lost their key, as long as 7 other people have it, you can recreate it. So you can rotate the group slightly. If 7 people say, actually, we want to swap 3 people out, you could just rotate the keys a few people at a time. So it does allow for that as well, yes.
Final question, staying on that subject, what developments or advancements to come do you foresee in the realm of DVT? How are people making efforts to improve it, make it more accessible? What's going on?
Yeah, so the key developments are mainly mainnet, and it will start being actually used in Anger, which always makes it more fun. More people get involved once it moves past the testnet phase. And these are the 2 main OBOL and SSV, the main ones coming to mainnet very soon. But in terms of the entire space itself, is that the main thing that's going to change is it's going to get more accessible. So right now it's still very technical. and are quite challenging to get set up. But those technical barriers are going to reduce significantly for various reasons, where you could just come in and either the technical barriers are going to reduce, but it also reduces the stake required. So people talk a lot about Rocketpool. That went from 16 to 80. There's the requirement to run a validator. With DVT, that requirement can drop down even further, with people suggesting even like 1 ETH bonds or no ETH bonds in some cases, where you're able to provide that service. So I think that's the key area. It's the bond reduction and the technical skill reduction that's going to make a massive difference.
Absolutely. And with that, I guess further opportunities for decentralization and increased security and all sorts of positive aspects.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is a win-win.
Well, that I really appreciate you taking the time. So are you, am I talking to you? Are you in Europe right now?
Currently, I'm in the States. I was at
Okay.
the wedding, but I'm going to be traveling back. I'm mostly based in London. Yeah, so
Cool. Well, I was going to provide an extra thank you for talking to me pretty late in the evening if if you were over there. But thank you very much for your time. I appreciate that. I'm going to, as these clips develop, I'll be sure to share them with you prior to distribution on the Discord servers. And I welcome any feedback. And if you think of any links or comments that would be helpful, feel free to drop them in the Discord server, and I'll be sure to include.
yeah, definitely. I'll check that out for you, particularly those links to like DVStakers and a few things. I'll just check here. There's like the educators. Yeah, there's about 13. Yeah, about 13 to 20 educators in the group. So that guess was about right.
Yeah, you nailed it. Okay, great. And we'll be in touch. It's probably going to be a couple of days before we start putting these clips out, but I'll be sure to keep you in the loop. So thank you
Brilliant.
very
All right, I'll put those links in the Discord now. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Have a great rest of the day.
Jason, thank you. Bye.
Later.